today's spooky spots. I don't know what happened there. We are having a look, get together, at the Universal Studios, home of the original monsters. We're looking at the Minimates of Frankenstein's monster and Dr. Henry Frankenstein. Two figures, two Minimates, make perfect sense being put together. Granted, there is also the Bride of Frankenstein. You could easily have put those two together, but then this guy would just be kind of aimless. You have to, of course, pair the non-interesting character with the more interesting character to make a purchase. This guarantees a sell. You throw two humans together or two side characters, it's just going to sit. It's going to sit on a shelf like this. Seasons are going to come and go. Dust is going to start forming on this. People are going to walk by, pick it up, and say, who are these two humans that I don't know of? It almost looks like he's part of the Frankenstein movie, but there's no Frankenstein with him. Back on the shelf he would go. So smart by Diamond Select to be putting the human character, side character, with the monster. As you can see down below, there's the logo, the Universal Studios, home of the original Monsters logo. And on the back, zoom back there. If you hear any commotion in the background, that's my cats. They're just playing. It usually happens. And you know what? The funny thing is, here's the irony of it all, if I can throw this out here as well. My cats generally are quiet. They just sit. They do nothing. Until this guy gets out his stuff to review. He gets out his camera work, everything else here. He gets out his energy drink. And just right about the time he sits down and starts reviewing, boom, that's when they start playing. It's like they know. Anyways, the figures that make up this set, we've got Dr. Van Helsing, we've got Henry Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, a villager, we've got Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and we've got a black and white version of the two monsters as well. The read-up on Frankenstein's monster, the most famous tale of Dr. Frankenstein's monster is still the 1931 Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff as the monster. Perfect. I gotta watch that movie again soon. Created from the body parts of the deceased and given life through artificial means, the monster ultimately turned on his master and on humanity. Dr. Henry Frankenstein, this young scientist, has one dream: to create life, specifically to create life through the reanimation of dead human tissue, assisted and also sabotaged by his hunchbacked assistant, Fritz. He ultimately succeeds, but at what cost? What cost? Also to note that Fritz was not included in this set. Apparently he was so uninteresting of a character, they just got rid of him and put in a token villager. Even, I don't know, the token villager looks pretty cool though. He kind of looks like an angry Hugh Jackman. Which ironically goes back to the notion of Van Helsing, which I talked about in my last review. But that's packaging aside. What we're going to do is get these two opened up, and we are going to have a look at the Frankenstein's monster and Dr. Henry Frankenstein. Stay tuned, guys. There is more. Oh, there is so much more blood-tingling, or blood-curdling review to come. Stay tuned. Let's first have a look at the Dr. Frankenstein, Henry Frankenstein. And again, really, he could be anybody. It's the problem with these Minimates. You know, if you get them lost, unless this guy is with this guy, and you would open him up and say, oh, there's Frankenstein's monster. Oh, this must be Dr. Frankenstein. Without that, you could pick this guy up and say, who is this guy? Who is this guy wearing a lab coat? Or lab. He's wearing like a full lab outfit, definitely, that's for sure. The face is pretty good. Kind of actually looks like me. It would just need some stubble and stuff like that, but it kind of also looks like, or it could resemble as well, Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum. So the thing about Minimates, you could easily take the head off here, like so, and you could put this on a human body, or just a regular outfit body, and you could make yourself a John Carpenter, a Jeff Goldblum figure from The Fly. You could do that if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that. I'll just put his head back on. His detail is pretty neat. Now, unfortunately, because he's wearing this longer outfit, down below here. You can get waist articulation. Waist will swivel, but the legs pretty much will do nothing. You move the legs a little bit. Let's hope he never has to run, because he's going to be running like this, because he won't be able to move his legs. He will still have the standard arm articulation. The arms will move out, and you can rotate them left and right. You can bend at the elbow, rotate the hand. Of course, you can move the head. Always problem with the Minimates is that when you move their head, 9 times out of 10 their hair always moves first. As you can see, the head moves up and down, angled to the side, left and right. Full movement. Put the hair back on. It's embarrassing. Dr. Henry Frankenstein isn't bad. I mean, again, the real draw for me is to get it for this guy here. Which I also like the fact that he is definitely taller. He's a slight bit taller and a little bulkier too. We'll put Henry Frankenstein down here, just like that. He can lay down. And let's look at the real draw of this. We'll look at Frankenstein's monster. Now again, I'm just going to call him Frankenstein. I'm going to throw this out here and make a stand. You always love those, those people that comment, that put, dude, it's not this, it's this. It's Frankenstein's monster. Why would you call it Frankenstein? And again, I'm saying, you had the book called Frankenstein. It wasn't called, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein's monster. It wasn't called Bride of Frankenstein's monster. It definitely wasn't called Frankenstein's monster versus the Wolfman. It was just called Frankenstein. Right? So, plus every time you say Frankenstein, generally people don't think of this guy. They generally think of this guy. And I gotta say, Frankenstein here looks pretty cool. Pretty gosh darn cool. He's got this really oversized jacket that's been put over top of the regular Minimate torso, which in this case works perfectly because the Frankenstein has, is much larger, much beefier in a costume. He's got a perfect face, right down to the extra. It looks like it bulges out just a slight bit there. Only adds to the coolness of the monster. It doesn't look as if you can actually take his hair off. It looks like it is all one piece. He also has the lifters, the little lifts at the bottom of his boots to give him that extra height, just like in the movie. And his articulation would be the same. His head can move up and down and rotate. His arms can move out, move all the way around, bend at the elbow, rotate the hand. You can have his arms up. That's probably the more you have him more like that. The waist can still move back and forth despite the fact he's got this extra piece. His legs can bend out, bend back, bend out. You can bend at the knee. Whoops. You can bend at the knee, like so. And you can also rotate the foot, just like that. And with any other Minimate too, you can mix and match if you wanted to. These are all just on a peg ball joint, so you can just pop the arms off, pop the legs off if you wanted to, and mix and match. The irony, you could even take Henry Frankenstein's head and put it on top of the monster if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but I do like the Frankenstein's monster though. He is definitely cool. Dr. Frankenstein is alright, but I think I like Frankenstein certainly a lot more. If I give these two packs any sort of terrifying rating, I won't rate them individually because, there's not a lot to be said for the human characters. But the 2-pack I like, I'm going to give them a 6.5. A 6.5 for the Diamond Select Minimates featuring Dr. Henry Frankenstein and Frankenstein. Thanks for watching, as you always do, guys. Stay tuned, there is more spooky spots for the rest of October, and I'll see you guys next time.